Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Germ. This will be my branded Bystial Ishizu deck profile. So let's just get started. So we got double Fallen Valbaz. I feel like 3 is too bricky. 2 is the perfect amount, especially with the amount of shufflers that we have. It allows us to manage our resources pretty easily. Then we got triple Luber. Pretty standard. I feel like there's nothing to say here. Then we got double Tragedy. 3 is definitely too bricky. 1 I feel like is not enough. 2 has been working pretty well for me. Then we got 1 Dramaturge to round out the package. I think Dramaturge is really good in this format, especially because Branded Red is really hard to resolve these days, especially with all the Bystials going around. Then we got Albion, Merc, and Cartesia. I feel like these 3 work really well, especially Albion. I feel like this is a sleeper card because it's basically a free upstart, a free discard you can use from the graveyard as well. And then Merc, really good negate effect, which I don't really use often, but the banish effect is even better. It helps you grab one of the 4 different cards in the deck. And then Cartesia allows double Masquerade plays, as well as Dragospelia, and other things, as well as just being able to be recycled each turn, so it's pretty good. Then we got the Bystials, so double Rebellion. I feel like 3 is way too bricky. I don't want to see 2 in my opening hand, so 2 is really good. Then we got double Magnemite. I feel like this card is okay. It hasn't been doing the best for me, especially with Dark out there. They'll just take your Magnemite, spell summon it, get their search on their end phase on their turn. We got triple Druid Worm, obviously really good. It's a pretty decent out to a few things, especially Baguska, because that card will literally ruin this deck, especially game 1. And we got triple Saronir, which is obviously probably the best Bystial for this deck. It allows for a few different lines, especially with Branded and High Spirits. It allows us to go for Branded Fusion on turn 1, which is pretty decent. It's pretty decent. We got the Ishizu package, so we got triple Endora, triple Keldo, and then 1 Kelbeck, which is hiding. So I feel like these are really good in this deck. The synergy just compares really well, especially with the Bystials. It allows for really good graveyard control, which is something that this deck is obviously going for, especially against tier. I just feel like this ratio is pretty good, considering the amount of resources that we can just recycle and the amount of graveyard control that you can have. And then we got triple Branded Fusion, broken card, best card in the deck. Triple Branded Opening, pretty standard. It allows us to have more starters. Really good to use the Ishizu cards to discard within and then special summon Dramaturge, which is really good negate to have on board, or just get your Aluber out, right? And then we got double Branded and High Spirit, so this card is really good. So you just reveal 1 card in your hand, 1 monster, and then you can send from your extra deck to the graveyard a monster with the same type with 2500 or more attack. So it's pretty decent. It can allow us to trigger off our end phase effects, especially with like Titaniclad, Albion. So it's pretty decent. It's a pretty good card. And it comes back at your end phase if a fusion monster was sent to the graveyard. So pretty much every time you activate this card, you're going to get it back at the end phase. So it's a pretty good card. It works pretty well. And then we got Branded in Red, Branded Lost, Theater, and then Regained. Branded in Red used to be really good. Now it's kind of just like a bait card, to maybe bait out a Bystial, bait out a Shuffler. But when it does resolve, it feels pretty nice. And obviously Brandon Lost, MVP of the deck, obviously against cards that trigger in the graveyard, and especially tier, especially using like Super Poly or Fallen of Valbaz or any fusion effects. With this on board, no effects can be activated as long as a monster was fusion summoned, so it's pretty nice. And then Theater, really good, and extra fusion summon as well. And the second effect is really good as well. And Branded Regained, obviously you plus a lot off of banishing cards, and this deck banishes cards like no other. Then we got double Super Poly. I'm trying to swap these out for droplets, but I only have one, so we're only playing one. But this card is okay right now. It's not super good, but a lot of the decks in the format are running dark or light monsters, so it's super easy to make a Masquerade on their turn, or a Garura or something like that, something silly. And then we got Forbidden Droplet, which is really good with the Ishizu cards because you can just send more shufflers to the graveyard, negate some cards on the field, and break some boards. And then for the traps, we run 1 Beast, 1 Retribution, 1 Banishment. So Retribution is obviously really good. You can banish itself to give you 1 Branded Spell or Trap card in your graveyard. So the line with Branded High Spirits and Serenity is you send Branded Fusion or whatever Branded Spell or Trap cards you need to the graveyard, and then you send this with Albion, and then you banish this to get whatever spell trap you need back to your hand. It's pretty good. And then Banishment is obviously really good. You get a fusion monster back, and you can use your opponent's field to banish, to fusion summon. So let's go with the extra deck. So standard double Mirror Jade. I run triple Albion. I haven't seen the third one yet, but I feel like having 3 is better than not having 3 when you need it. And then 1 Lebellion. It's really easy to play this with 1. Obviously, if they like stop it with an Imperm or with a Veiler or something, then you're kind of stuck. But having the 1 has been really good. I've never made 2, so I took out the second one to put in the third Albion. And then we got Double Tax Dragon, MVP of the deck. Game 3, this is probably your best friend going against specific decks, most especially like tier. It's obviously really good to have double Masquerade more because it's really hard to get over, and they're gonna have to commit at least 2 or 3 effects to get these both off board. And it's really nice. And of course the effect is special summon itself back to your field to potentially fuse it off for a Draco Stapelia or Starving Venom. Really good, really good. And I got 1 Titaniclad, easy beater, and then it's graveyard effect to special summon a Fallen Valbaz. On the end phase is really good because it's another super poly. And Abelinidis. This card is really good for closing games or just getting cards off the board. Contact fusing with this card is nuts. Your opponent does not expect it. And then we got Desmond Cortes. Really good against decks that don't play fusion monsters. Obviously it's just an insane card. Draco Stapelia, standard. This card is okay right now. I feel like everything can, I guess, counter this, but gotta have it. And then we got Starving Venom. Pretty good card, pretty strong body to put on the board. Garura, this is just gonna be a El Shaddai construct, but I have not gotten it yet. So for now, it's my super poly target. And then Guardian Chimera, which we don't really make often, but you gotta play it in the deck. So there's that, and then we can go over the side deck, which is obviously tailored to my locals. So this is what we're playing. We got triple draw and lock board for obviously decks that search a lot, mainly Hero, Dark World, anything that searches a lot. Opening this against Dark Worlds is so funny because they literally can't do anything. Got triple cross out, which I feel like is really good, especially running Bystials and running Ishizu. Everyone's running Bystials. A lot of decks are running Ishizu. Just really good card. We got triple Dark Rule and no more for those pesky boards with like Baguska. Easy out there. Lightning Storm, obviously, right? You need that. Back row hate or get over their boards going second. An evenly matched, good going second card, and then Dimensional Barrier, which is pretty good against a lot of decks out there. So that's gonna be it for my deck profile. This is my first video on the channel, so please show me some love. Let me know what I can do better. Let me know if you have any suggestions for my deck. And yeah.